Our next guest was 17 years old when she was recruited by Jeffrey Epstein in 2004. She says he threatened to wield his influence to withhold medical care from her sick mother, entrapping her in what she's called a cycle of abuse. Danielle Bensky is joining us now. It's always nice to have you here,
Thank you
Danielle.
for having me.
Were you surprised to hear
yeah.
Melania Trump give these remarks? And what did you hear in her words?
I think survivors were completely blindsided. I think we were expecting to hear from a lot of different voices. Melania was not on the radar, I would say. And it just speaks to the level of the only thing that is certain is uncertainty in this administration. I heard blame be placed on survivors in this. I think that it feels like the burden has been now placed on survivors to come forward and speak in front of Congress, when in reality we've been asking for proper investigations and for trials to move through this the right way from the very beginning. And it feels like this administration is often, it's a masterclass in the art of deflection, right? And so yet again, we should be talking about Pam Bondi. We should be talking about what is Todd Blanche going to do, which, by the way, this is completely contradictory to the statements that he's been making, which is nothing's been mishandled, that basically we all need to just move on from this, right? And so I think it just puts all of us on our heels a little bit and just gives us pause. And I think we really are just completely caught off guard and trying to figure out what our next move is, but that the burden needs to be on the DOJ. The burden needs to be on the FBI. We have an FBI, we have a DOJ. They need to do their jobs.
Let me play a little bit of what she did say about survivors. Let's listen.
Each and every woman should have her day to tell her story in public if she wishes, and then her testimony should be permanently entered into the congressional record. Then, and only then, we will have the truth.
I know you want the truth. I know you want to be seen, but you don't want what she's suggesting?
Not this way, right? That's why we want fair trials, and survivor safety should be paramount. And it's something that this administration doesn't seem to care much about, honestly. There is such a lack of consideration. If we go in front of Congress and we start naming names and we open ourselves up to that, it puts us in a line of we would be open for lawsuits at the very minimum. Just the lawsuit alone, there's defamation, there's safety that's a real safety concern with being followed home at night, right? So there are no safety precautions and procedures put in place at this point, which is why we've been, asking for the release of the files. We've been asking for the transparency so that we can follow investigative leads. We need to start the investigations. And we've been saying, we're not political pawns. We keep being used as political pawns, being pushed from one side to the next, and it just feels like yet another way that we're being pushed into this political arena that we don't belong in.
And so now Pam Bondi has skirted, for now, her testimony before Congress, even though she had a subpoena, but because she's not Attorney General anymore, her lawyers are arguing that removes her from having to appear. Yeah. And so why do you think it's important for Bondi to ultimately face those lawmakers' questions?
There has never been talk about procedure, how the redactions were made, why they were made, or any sort of process that even existed. We know that perpetrators have been redacted time and time again, and yet my information still, even after 3 rounds, after my lawyer speaking to everybody, I was talking to Reuters this week, and they can still put my last name in, and information still comes up. So there's so many questions that we have about why the redactions have been what they are, and we're still protecting the wrong people. We're still protecting the perpetrators and the power. The subjects have not changed. So however much dancing we do in and out of different things and try to deflect, it always remains, this is not political, and we want all the files released. We want investigations. That's it.
I spoke yesterday with the chairman, or I should say the ranking member on that oversight committee, Congressman Robert Garcia, Democrat, and he suggested maybe Todd Blanche, the now acting Attorney General, should be subpoenaed to testify as well. Do you agree? And what questions would you want him to face?
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, he gave her the sweetheart deal. He gave Ghislaine the second sweetheart deal that happened in this case, right? And so
because of her moving to this other prison camp.
I mean, the fact that she's playing with puppies, you know, we know that the treatment that she has received is she's at a spa, basically. I mean, she might as well be at a day camp, right? And so what was that procedure? How, after one conversation, she was moved to this new facility. I think the American people have the right to know. Survivors have the right to know.